Have you ever had your heart broken? Did you know that God had his heart broken? Very early on. Yeah, he did. I've just been reading through Genesis. Yes, I've started reading through the Bible again from the beginning. And I read chapter 5, which is the descendants of Abraham, the descendants of Adam. Thousands and thousands of people were born over the course of about 1,000 years from the time Adam was created until the flood. It was just over 1,000 years. And I got to thinking, with the Lord, a day is as 1,000 years, 1,000 years is as a day. So can you imagine over the course of a day, all this stuff is multiplied. And there was one person that the Bible says walked in close relationship, close fellowship with God. And that was Enoch. And he lived for 300 years and God took him home. It says in verse 21, Enoch lived in close fellowship with God for another 300 years, and he had other sons and daughters. He lived 365 years walking in close fellowship with God. Then one day he disappeared because God took him. Wouldn't that be awesome? You're walking in such close fellowship with God that God just takes you. There's something to shoot for. Did you know there's somebody else that lived in close fellowship with God? We always think about Enoch. But listen to this. In chapter 6, verse 9, talking about Noah. He walked in close fellowship with God. At that time, God said that Noah was the only righteous man on the earth. But I want to talk to you about something else too. Heartbreak. God created all these people. And in 1,000 years, there were 2 that walked in close fellowship with him. Only 2. Something to strive for. But let me read to you chapter 6. Starting in verse 5, the Lord observed the extent of human wickedness on the earth. And he saw that everything they thought or imagined was consistently and totally evil. There's a lot of people on the earth today that are kind of like that. So the Lord was sorry he had ever made them and put them on the earth. It broke his heart. Imagine, God had created this beautiful world with the sky and the trees and the grass, wild animals, tame animals, birds, and humans. The thing that he loved the most was the people. And they were evil. They turned against God. Most of them did not walk in close fellowship with God. Now this one here, he walks in close fellowship with his mama. Yeah, he does. But most of us do not walk in close fellowship with God. Most of us don't. It breaks his heart. He loves us so much that he wants us to be in close fellowship with him. He wants to hold us like I hold Tufi. He wants to love us even more than I love Tufi because he loves us. Don't break his heart. Don't walk away from him. Don't make God cry. I was thinking about that, when the rain came. I know it's just a theoretical and I'm sure it's not true, but imagine if the rain that poured down when Noah was in the ark, if it was God's tears. Now, I don't know if God cries or not, but he gave us tear glands and tear ducts so we can cry. So if we're created in his image, it stands to reason that he would have tear ducts and tear glands and stuff also. So don't make God cry. Walk in close fellowship with him. How do you do that? How do I walk in close fellowship? Spend time with him. Read his word. Pray. Listen to the preaching of his word. Pray. Read his word. Pray. And when you pray, listen. Because if you just talk all the time when you're praying, you ever get around somebody that just talk, and you can't get a word in edgewise? Well, isn't that the way we are sometimes with God? We just talk, and God, give me this, give me this, give me this. God bless, God do, God do, God do. And we never stop and listen. Take the time to stop and listen to what God has to say. You say, I don't know how to hear God. Well, there's a few ways. One is through this. Read the Word. When you read the Word, He'll speak to you. Another is through listening to what pastors, teachers, preachers say. God will speak to you through other people. And besides other people, God will speak to you in that still small voice, just very quietly. You know, God doesn't He's not up there with a hammer going, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. You need to listen to me. That's not God. He's very quiet sometimes. That's why we need to be quiet. Take the time to listen and hear what He has to say to you. Every day, before I pick up my Bible, before I pick up my devotional book, I ask God to show me what I need to see today. That's how I saw this today, about God's heartbreak because His people. Can you imagine everything He created? And He destroyed it all, except for Noah and his family. That had to hurt. I think of all the things that I've created over the course of my life, piddling stuff compared to God. But if I had to take it all, pile it up, and light a match, I'll tell you what, that'd be tough. And God did it Himself. He destroyed the world Himself. And then He let Noah and his family multiply, and here we are today. It takes time to replenish the earth, you know that? We've multiplied by the billions in my lifetime, but it took a long time to get there. Anyway, that's my message for today. Thank you for watching. I would appreciate it if you would like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will talk to you soon.